It's taking. Good morning and happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to the Optimus Fantasy Football YouTube channel. I am here with the one and only Lou Brunson, and we're here to help you get your lineup set this Sunday. Lou, it's been a wonderful weekend. How are you settling into Sunday? Are you ready for this slate to get fired up, to get going?
Oh, I am. I'm looking forward to watching my Bills play not in prime time. If I can not have another cardiac game like that, don't get me wrong, I'll take the outcome, but the lead up to
Sure.
it, my heart rate, if it wants to stay at a nice, super caffeinated 120 beats per minute sort of thing, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, it's Denver and Indy. I'm not super worried about the Broncos this weekend. But man, Bo Nix that was worrisome last weekend. It concerned me a lot.
Yeah, he looked like rookie, not just rookie Bo Nix, but like rookie first 4 weeks of the season Bo Nix,
Yeah.
which is really weird because you wouldn't think that he would be that uncomfortable, and he definitely looked like it, which is I don't know. I'm not worried, but I am watching.
Everything that we were told is that he was just supposed to be so much more electric and he was so much more comfortable and he had settled into this offense. And, there was so much rapport with these guys now a year into it. And he looked kind of lost. How are you feeling about him heading into this weekend? Are you firing him up still against Indy?
I don't have him as a QB1 this week. I have him at QB15. So like not terrible, but you probably have a better option somewhere, possibly even on your waiver wire if you're in a 1 QB league. So
Well,
like I'm not totally fading him, but at the same time, he's like I said, that Indy defense was not just Miami being dumb. That was an Indy defense playing like we haven't seen in years.
yes. Well, and here's the other thing that concerns me. This is where I kind of worry, is that Daniel Jones, I don't think that was an aberration, man. Like, I think he is actually a very good quarterback. I think that we saw him be a very good quarterback in New York. He just had incompetent people around him. Now he's in Indy, and Shane Steichen, a lot of us give Shane Steichen a lot of credit for what Jalen Hurts turned into, right? Why can't he do the same thing for a guy like Daniel Jones? It wasn't going to happen with Anthony Richardson. Too raw. He's too raw. But why can't it happen with a guy like Daniel Jones? He's got 5 years under his belt. He's had a couple of decent seasons. Now you're giving him Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor.
And see, I'm not a believer in those names as much as you are, is really what it comes down to. Whether it's Steichen, whether it's Downs,
Sure.
all those guys. Warren, I will give you, I really like the way they used him week one. Love it. I think it plays into Jones's strengths. I also know that he's similar to Sam Darnold in that once he starts getting hit a bit, it starts unraveling really, really fast. And week one can lie to us and often does a lot. Remember Isaiah
Very
Likely
much
last
so.
year, people going out, blowing half their fab
Yeah.
week one. That could very well be Daniel Jones this year, and I wouldn't be shocked a bit.
It could be.
I think it's great for fantasy if he is that guy that we saw week one. Like that's a whole nother team now with usable assets that I didn't really anticipate coming into the season.
Yep.
But it would be honestly a little concerning for Jonathan Taylor going forward because
well, his fantasy value relies on his rushing ability.
Right. Well, and Daniel Jones, I'd forgotten this actually because he hasn't been relevant in years. But he's really, really good at QB sneaks. Like not just not tush push style either, just regular QB sneaks. I'd forgotten about that. Like he's Brady level with him. That's wild to say about Daniel Jones.
Well, the thing is, so what did he have in that season where he was QB9? He had 120 carries for 708 yards and 7 touchdowns. You get him behind a decent offensive line, and he can do that. He had the 2 touchdowns against Miami, and again, I think you believe more in this Dolphins defense than I do. I don't think it's a very good unit. I think that we thought maybe that they were better than we thought they were going to be. They're awful. They're a terrible unit. So
Yeah. No, it's a lot of column A versus column B, and it's
mhm.
probably a bit of both in there as well.
Yeah,
I'm with you. That Miami defense looks, oh my God.
I know it's not good. It's
No,
not good.
no.
It's not good. Well,
And like,
what is good,
yeah,
Lou, we got some questions in the chat. Let's get to these guys here. We've
let's
got
do
Will
it.
Hayes over on YouTube. DeAndre Swift or David Montgomery this week? Which way are you swinging?
Um, I'm going Montgomery this week. Like, he's still Monty. What we saw week 1 against that Green Bay defense, like, we've got 2 games of that Green Bay defense now, and they are scarily good. I understand people may not be a believer. Um, but yeah, and it's just, we know that the Lions are going to recommit to that running game and get that settled. And Chicago had a hot start last week defensively, but they ultimately kind of melted down against the run. I expect that to continue this week.
Yeah, I've got Monty all the way. I'm a big fan of David Montgomery. I'm a big fan of this offense in general. I know last week looked rough without Ben Johnson, and some of us are kind of, and I myself included, am a little worried, but I'm not going to worry that much. I'm going to start Monty over DeAndre Swift, especially PPR. We have got Jonathan Santiago here this morning. Thank you for tuning in, Jonathan. We love to see it. We love to answer these questions for you guys, so please keep them coming. Flex one this week, Lou. Calvin Ridley, Jameson Williams, or Travis Hunter PPR? And is he crazy to start Pitts over TJ Hawkinson this week? I want to answer the Pitts over Hawkinson question. You are not. It looks like they're actually going to start using him. It's worth the risk to me to start him over Hawkinson. I am unimpressed with what we saw in Hawkinson last week, and I don't know how much usage he's truly going to get with JJ McCarthy at quarterback right now.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% right there. I've got him in the same tier, so it's kind of like, if you flip a coin, your gut says the other way. That's valid, and I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But I do have Pitts ranked over Hawkinson.
Yep, I've got Hawkinson slightly ahead of Pitts, but that's going to change after we get off this show. My fine tuning rankings right before the end, right before we get
Yep.
started. Now, where do you sit here on this flex one? Are you Calvin Ridley, Jameson Williams, or Travis Hunter here?
This week, Hunter does not belong in that conversation. Cohen's come out and said that he's going to be playing primarily defense. So just, it's between
Tim out.
Ridley and JMO at this point. Yeah. I lean Ridley. Cam Ward targeted him early, often, all that last week. It's just Ridley could not hold on to the dang.
Yeah.
Like there's
Lou,
anyone else in that passing offense that is a reasonable target. So give me Ridley, especially if you are close. If you need that home run swing where you're going up against Tucker Kraft and Jordan Love, and you kind of need to chase those points a bit, go. I got no problem with that. But if you just need that kind of consistent, make sure you get, 10 points at least, that sort of thing, go Ridley.
Okay, yep, and I'm completely with you there. Now let's move on to this one here. Jason William. Hey guys, need one wide receiver and one running back to start. Tet McMillan, Jerry Jeudy, Stephon Diggs, or Calvin Ridley, and then Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, or Tony Pollard, half PPR. Let's start with the running backs here. Which way are you going between KW3, Charbonnet, and Pollard?
Yeah, I've got Pollard the highest in a tier above the other two. I do think those Seattle running backs, unfortunately, go Charbonnet, K Will in that order. But it's still Pollard ahead of both.
Yep, I've got Pollard ahead of both as well, so that's where I'm going here. Now, what about these wide receivers? Tet McMillan, Jerry Jeudy, and Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I've got it as Tet. Jeudy and Diggs, I don't believe in their roles and their offenses. Nor do I am I on board with their talent level at this point. And Tet is, he is the guy in the Panthers passing offense, and Lord knows they're going to have to pass a lot because their defense is non-existent again.
Well, as always. Yeah, I'm with you. Tet McMillan's the guy here. I just do Hunter Renfrow, Xavier Legette has brick hands. Apparently, some of us were a little too high on him coming into the league last year. Whoopsie, but yeah, it's a mess. There's really me too. There's nobody else to throw to in that offense, so I'm going Tet here, and it's not even really remotely close. I want to get back to what we were talking about with Indy, though. Long term with this offense, What do you
Mhm.
think the viability is of these assets? Like, how are you feeling about guys like Josh Downs right now? How are you feeling about Michael Pittman? Do you think Tyler Warren is a guy who can consistently finish as a top 10 tight end this year in this offense?
Uh, I don't feel great about the wide receivers. I do about Tyler Warren simply because I don't feel great about those wide receivers and think
Sure.
that he is going to effectively be that wide receiver one in that offense, which it's our friend Andrew Cooper and likes to talk about. Like, that is what you want in your
Yep.
fantasy tight ends. So even though I might not be the biggest believer in his profile, coming into the NFL and that sort of thing, in this offense, the way it's structured and set up and the other weapons there, yeah, I mean, what's not to love? I, based on how bad Miami looked last week, and we're going to get a lot of answers both this week and then Thursday night against Buffalo
Yeah.
with Miami, we might discover really quickly that the Indy offense from week one was a complete sham. And I wouldn't be shocked in that. We know, like I kind of mentioned before, week one can
Mhm.
lie to us, and I think that
Mhm.
could be a lie. I'm not saying it definitely is, like the possibility is there, but
I'm 50-50 on it, I think, is where I'm at, Lou. But this
yeah.
week is going to tell us a lot because they're playing Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw what Denver did to a pretty talented rookie quarterback. I mean, 12 for 27, 112 yards. Just made him look lost, which it was his first game in the NFL. But also, we know how good this Denver defense is supposed to be. It'll be very
Yeah.
telling to see how Indy holds up against Denver today. If they can actually make this
Yeah.
offense go against Denver, then we might have something to talk about tonight with Kevin. I
Yep.
mean, that's just
Absolutely.
very plain and simple. The next matchup I want to talk about, something this is a matchup I find intriguing because of the injury to Brock Purdy, because George Kittle is going to be out. We've got San Francisco at New Orleans here. It's on the early slate. It's a 1 p.m. game here on the East Coast. For us, it's much. You get 10 a.m. You get
10
first games at
a.m.
10 a.m., baby.
Yeah, it's great.
That is great, man. It's a great way to start your day, and you get to those night games earlier too, which I'm fairly envious of, man.
They wrap up at
It's
8:30. It's beautiful.
that
Not
is
falling asleep
wonderful.
at halftime.
No, it's wonderful. Okay, so we've got Mac Jones starting
Mm-hmm.
for the San Francisco 49ers today. Now,
Yeah.
how do you think this is going to go? A lot of people have picked up Mac Jones on the waiver wire because they've got Brock Purdy. There's
Mm-hmm.
the narrative of, Mac Jones was supposed to be that number 3 pick. It wasn't supposed to be Trey Lance until he got shamed into it. He's the one who should have been there. This is the guy that Kyle Shanahan wanted all along. Is there anything to that for you this week as we're leading into this? If you need a quarterback, he's still available in 95% of leagues just on Sleeper. I haven't even checked ESPN yet. I'll go there next. Is he worth a shot this week in this offense where he's going to be hyper targeting Ricky Pearsall more than likely, and it's going to be a lot of CMC? But in 2 QB leagues, is Mac Jones worth a flyer this week in the San Francisco offense?
Okay, I'm glad you said 2 QB, because if you're considering him in a 1 QB league, please stop. Get some help. People love you. We care about you enough to not let you make those decisions. Um, yeah, no is the short answer. Please don't consider Mac Jones. This Saints defense is actually as bad as we expect the Saints team to be on the whole this year. That is mostly driven by that disastrous offense that they have.
Sure.
They have some a decent number of guys that can play and play well on defense, and they did last week. As much as people expected Arizona to come out and just absolutely cakewalk over New Orleans, they didn't, and it was in large part because the defense was very effective.
Yeah.
Against the beat up San Francisco team, I expect there, yes, to be a lot of running the ball, not just CMC, but Brian Robinson as well. Especially if they're going to try and limit the wear and tear on CMC, like this is a perfect game to do it.
Yep.
So no, I don't expect a whole lot out of Mac Jones here. And yeah, I expect Ricky Pearsall will be hyper targeted, especially if Juwan Jennings can't go. Like, you running out Kendrick Bourne right off the street.
Sky Moore.
Oof. Right.
He's
Like the other options.
Yeah, no,
It's,
it's not pretty. Kendrick Bourne, Sky Moore, Jordan Watkins. They've got MVS. Brandon Ayuk isn't healthy enough to play, so it's going to be the Ricky Pearsall show.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is, and I'm still not sure that I care enough. Like, I've still got him as a startable wide receiver and a three
Sure,
wide receiver or as a flex. Like, that's fine. And I'm
I've
not excited about anyone other than CMC on this team this week.
I'm not really. I've got Ricky Pearsall at wide receiver 24. I've got him a slot ahead of DJ Moore. I've got him a slot behind Keon Coleman. I know how you feel about that. But yeah,
Let me ask,
back in wide receiver 2 flex, I think is kind of where he fits in this week.
yeah,
Pearsall.
I've got him as a mid wide receiver 3 just because again, it's Mac Jones. Listen, I know how depressed I get when I see those posts about, former first round pick signs with so and so as a free agent. It's like, if you have to include that former first round pick in that post,
Oh, yeah,
you know how far they've fallen. And that's Mac Jones at this point, right?
it
It's
is.
just who he is. There's a reason that
Yeah.
San Francisco could sign him for nothing.
Yeah. No, I feel bad for the kid. I think there was a future there. He was decent when he was in New England. I mean, he was QB 18 his rookie season. That's not awful. But
I mean,
yeah,
so
I
was
think
Kenny Pickett.
damn it, Lou. But you're right. You're
Right.
right. um, there will be situations where there are going to be managers who have no choice.
Yes.
Jen's in one of those situations in the Scott Fishbowl. There's
Mm,
nobody else left.
right.
There
Oh
are
yeah. No.
like literally there's no one else left. I want to say that the quarterback she was looking at picking up was going to be, I think her options were, this is how bad it is. It was like Blake Sims and Skylar Howard who were available in her league. Those are the
Right. Like,
quarterbacks available in my home league. Like it's toast. So if you can get Mac Jones and you really need a quarterback, fine.
yeah.
You might be better off starting another position in your super flex though, to be fairly
Yes.
honest. Pick another
Yep.
position. Yeah.
Yep. I talk
Uh,
about backups who matter. Mac Jones is not a backup who matters. Like, this is not a
nope.
guy you rolling out there unless you absolutely have to. And in a
No
super flex,
choice.
unless he's your QB1 for super unfortunate reasons, don't throw him out there in your super flex spot. You have other positions. Use them.
I mean, if you have to go to the waiver wire, he is your best option. Because right now you're looking at guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, Troy Franklin, Ty Johnson, Kendre Miller, LaKent Allen, Tyler Beatty. I mean, these are just guys who are what?
I mean, I'd put Beatty and Schuster on the same level as Mac Jones. I have Mac Jones as my QB 32 on the week, like dead last among starters. So
Well, you're going to love where
behind
I have him.
Russell Wilson.
I've got him a little farther up. I've got him QB 24. I think he's a back end QB 2 this week.
Yeah,
We'll
and
see. I
I
mean,
think
we'll
it's just,
see.
yeah,
That's why it's fun. We get to debate this stuff.
yeah,
All right,
yeah. So
let's get
let's
to
get
this question here. We've got
yeah.
Sarwar Abdulatif over on YouTube, Zach Charbonnet, Dylan Sampson, Stefan Diggs. Which one are you starting in a flex, double flex, half PPR league?
Is this pick 2 or pick 1? Do you think?
We're going to assume pick 1, but we'll give a second option. I think it's pretty
Yeah,
easy for me. If you're picking 1, it's going to be Dylan Sampson for that receiving upside. I know Judkins might play today, but I still think Dylan Sampson gets that receiving work, at least this week. You look like you disagree. Which way would you go, Lou?
I have Charbonnet.
Okay.
There, and I don't. I think it's close enough that if you feel compelled to go Samson, I don't have a problem with it. We don't really know what this Browns offense is yet. Like, he threw the ball a ton in week 1. But that was against Cincinnati's defense, which is not a defense. Baltimore's very much is, despite what Buffalo did to them.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on Samson this week as a result. We know what Seattle is. We know they want to pound the ball. They want to run the ball. Charbonnet simply performs better. at that, the way that they do it. So I'd roll him out there in Diggs. Man, he's not fully recovered. That much is clear. They're not using him much, and New England's offense in general, it looks way too much like last year. I am concerned. I'm worried that New England wants to be who they were last year, which I question the sanity of those choices.
It's Mike Vrabel. Of course, they want to be
Right.
exactly what they were last year. These are all guys coming from the Belichick system. They're going to run the same damn offense, and it's until Robert Kraft is like, you know what? Let's get some fresh blood in here. Let's get completely out of this Belichick system. Let's get out of these Belichick system guys. Bring in someone new and start over. This is what we're going to get out of New England. And I'm with you.
It's just Vrabel. It's McDaniels too.
Well, yeah, they just keep bringing back. Isn't Matt Patricia's back with the team in some capacity as well? Like,
I think Patricia's in Ohio State now, actually.
Oh, Patricia is in
running
Ohio
the defense
State
over
now.
there.
That's right. We've got Mike McGregor agreeing with me, Lou. He's with Nate. Matt could surprise still modest, but he's startable in Superflex. That's the thing. I'm not saying he's going to be a QB1, man. I mean, anything is possible. I wouldn't put money on it in any fashion, but I think he's startable in Superflex. I mean, again, don't go blow a bunch of fab on him next week if he plays even decent this week. I feel like Purdy's probably out. What are we thinking? Probably 2 to 4 weeks, it sounds like. So, we've got A Fritz 19, Lou, with another question here. PPR needs 2. We've got AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Hollywood Brown, Zay Flowers, and at tight end, are we going Mark Andrews or Jake Ferguson? Let's start with the wide receivers here. Where are you at on those two?
It's Brown and Metcalf for me. I do have Flowers a little bit later in the same tier as those two. So if you feel pulled, like I really don't want to start DK because I don't really believe in that Pittsburgh offense. I feel like that's kind of valid and fine. You can pivot to Flowers, and that's fine. I don't have Hollywood in the same with them, mostly because of the matchup with Philadelphia. That defense is scary good, and if he's the only wide receiving option up against Quinyon Mitchell, that's going to go very badly.
Oh, it's very badly. I'm with you on this. I can't start Hollywood Brown. I know he had a big week. Fine, great, fun, whatever. I can't do it. I don't believe in it, and I think we've talked about this in that Kansas City offense. I don't think there's from week to week it's going to change who's going to get hyper targeted. It depends on the matchups, and against Philly this week, I just don't want any part of that matchup, like at all.
No.
Not even a little bit. And Zay Flowers makes me nervous too. He's Hollywood Brown when Hollywood Brown was in Baltimore, where you get these boom games, everyone would get real excited about him. And it's nothing about the talent whatsoever. It's about the system that they're running, that Monken and that Harbaugh are running. He's not going to do this every week. So it's hard to predict when these blowups are going to be with Flowers. And maybe you're starting him as a prayer flex. That's more of where I'm at with him right now. That's more of where I was drafting him. But DK and AJ Brown's going to rebound, and I like the matchup against the Kansas City secondary for him. And DK Metcalf and Pittsburgh, being a bit of a homer, you can't see my Steelers cons up on the wall back behind me. But I think this offense is pretty good. I wasn't thrilled about Aaron Rodgers getting signed, but if he can come out and throw the ball like he threw it last weekend against the Jets, I think this is at least a 9-8 team, if not a 10-7 team. In typical fashion of Mike Tomlin.
It always is. You're not going out on a limb,
right? But I think people thought that maybe this was the year where they were like 6-11 or something, or 7-9 instead of at least hitting that 500. I think this team's a little bit better than that, and DK Metcalf is going to see a lot of targets from Aaron Rodgers. So after this week, if we see it again, he might start to creep into that must-start territory if he's going to see all those targets every week in PPR, because it's just a volume play in general for me.
And I mean, I have DK as a mid-range wide receiver too. So like, and I mean, he is who he is, right? So like, he has his skill set is catch the short passes, turn them into long gains, he busts one for a touchdown, and suddenly he's fringe wide receiver 1 territory for the week. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with it. He's that guy that it feels icky to start him, but I think he's actually a better play than we, the fantasy community, realize. Kind of like what Cortland Sutton was last year, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't think anybody felt good about starting him, but then at the end of the year, you look up and like, wait, he was wide receiver like 6? How did that happen?
Slowly, quietly.
Right. It's like Novocaine.
Well, and I've got Metcalf at wide receiver 12 this week. I think he has a big week this week. I like the matchup against Seattle, though, too. I've got him ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. I've got him ahead of JSN. I've got him ahead of Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Mike Evans. I've got Emeka Egbuka behind him as well. I think this is going to be a good week for. I know.
Go bold. I love it. Lean in.
Here's the thing. When I do my rankings, there are some weeks where I will rank a certain player at their ceiling. That's what I'm doing with DK Metcalf this week. But this matchup tells me that he's going to play to his ceiling. And I think his ceiling is about wide receiver 12 this week. So that's where I've got him, because this is a week where I think he can actually live up to that. Let's do the tight ends real quick here. Mark Andrews or Jake Ferguson? Who are you going with?
Give me Jake Ferguson. I'm worried about Andrews' playing time without likely. Like that. This is an issue now. Luckily they look for him in the red zone, so it's possible he surprises. And like, this is still Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry in the red zone a lot more often than not.
Yep. You and I are together in this. We are against consensus because I've got Mark Andrews at tight end 9, Jake Ferguson at 8. And I'm with you. I think Ferguson, again, I'm ranking Andrews at his ceiling. More likely outcome, probably back at tight end 12. Somewhere where I've got like
tight end 20.
Wow. Okay. Whew. I'm not that low on him, but yeah, you are. Wow. All right. Well, I think we're both saying Jake Ferguson there, 8 Fritz 19. I hope that was helpful. We got Barely Fantasy. You guys know Evan. He's my co-host for the Monday Night Waiver Wire Show with a quippy question. Brian Schottenheimer, Mike McDonald, it's Coach PPR. Wow. I'm going to go Brian Schottenheimer. He at least has some wide receivers.
I'm saying Mike McDonald just because I think he catches more strays.
All right. Here's a real question.
Yeah, right on.
We got Jacob H. Flex full PPR. Here are your choices: Cortland Sutton, Alvin Kamara, Jacoby Myers, Jerry Jeudy. Who are you going? Pick one.
Goodness. First of all, well done drafting. I'm impressed.
Yes.
What a problem week 2. Okay, so it's between Sutton and Kamara.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
I lean Sutton. I like Kamara. I don't have a problem with him per se, but I mean, man, I don't think people understand how big of a week Sutton was close to last week if Nix wasn't week 1 Bo Nix. Like, there
he should have had it.
Yeah, you've seen the dots.
Yep. So Jacob says I put Sutton in because he hasn't dropped less than 10 dating back to after the Saints game last year when he was hurt. Yeah. Cortland Sutton is a good play this week. I'm not panicked about the Denver offense. They're going to get it together. They've got a couple new running backs they're trying to figure out. Yeah, it's going to happen. And they were slow last year. They got it together. I don't want this to be a Bo Nix thing, though. I don't want it to be the Joe Burrow start slow the first 4 weeks, and then you have to just like go balls to the wall to get back in it the rest of the season. Do you think that's what's happening right now in Cincinnati? I mean, they barely eked out a win over a Browns team that, on paper, Lou, they should have absolutely destroyed. They got Jacksonville at home this week. Is this a big rebound game for Cincy, do you think? Is this going to be, we're going to get full-on Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Joe Burrow ready to go?
I do. Mostly because how Cincinnati matches up with Cleveland is just, it's bad for Cincinnati. They have a suspect at best offensive line, and they have no defense. Like, that's exactly what Cleveland needs to stay in the game, and to limit you offensively. Jacksonville does not have that ability. Their defensive line is okay-ish. Their second level and secondary is absolute garbage, even with Travis Hunter back there.
Yeah.
And their offense, I mean, we know Jacksonville's going to throw it all over the yard. Trevor Lawrence and company wasn't great last week. They were okay, but we know who Liam Cohen is. We love his design and play calling. So there's no reason to think that Jacksonville can't have the offensive performance that's going to require Cincinnati to, push on the gas pedal. And there was a lot of secondary metrics there that say, okay, against a different opponent, against a better matchup, the Cincinnati offense is going to be okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And again, they're going to have to throw the ball. Jacksonville's Jacksonville. They definitely don't have the pass rush that Cleveland has, which is the one thing that Cleveland actually does have. They can get at the quarterback with Myles Garrett in those 2 draft picks. So on the other side of the ball, how are you feeling about Trevor Lawrence this week? He didn't look great last week. I mean, 13.32 fantasy points against that Carolina defense. And granted, they ran the ball a bunch. We saw Travis Etienne get his. But are you concerned about Trevor Lawrence after week 1?
Concerned in week 2? No, because the kind of the only defense in the NFL that might be worse than Carolina's is Cincinnati's, and that's who he gets this week. So I've got Lawrence as my QB 12 this week. I don't think he's a strong play, but I think he's startable as a QB1 in a 1 QB league. I kind of hope that you have better options in a 1 QB league because you drafted someone better, but I don't think he's a bad play this week. Season long, I am concerned. He's been around for a while now. This might just be who he is in that guy, that Andy Dalton kind of baseline, kind of replacement level quarterback.
That's kind of where I've been at with him. And I've been saying that a lot this offseason leading up to the season, where if we don't see him take a massive step forward, that's who he is. He's an Andy Dalton type of quarterback. Yeah, he's replaceable. You're going to be able to go out and draft a quarterback who's going to supplant him if you get a first-round pick. Pretty simple. We've already got Jackson Dart or Trevor Lawrence. In 3 years, who would you rather have as your starting quarterback, knowing what you know now?
Does New York have an offensive line in 3 years? Because I don't want to touch Jack. Okay, then absolutely Jackson Dart.
And that's what I'm saying about Trevor Lawrence.
Right. I don't want to touch any Giants quarterback until they have an offensive line, which they currently don't. So all you people out there who are holding out hope for Jackson Dart this year, don't careful what you wish for, because that Giants offensive line is awful, especially without Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, awful. Andrew Thomas is out today, I do believe. Yep. I believe I saw that earlier that he's not playing. Hopefully they get him back next week for the sake of when Jackson Dart makes his first start. I can't imagine them keeping 45% of his passes completed last week. Then after the game, he says, "I left it all on the field." That's not good, man.
Maybe if he took dookies all over the field, he left it all out there, but that's about it. Because that's what it looked like.
We're going to get to Jacob H. Got another question for us, Lou. He's got to decide between Justin Fields and Joe Burrow at quarterback today for his big money league. He has Garrett Wilson as one of his receivers. He doesn't know whether to stack Fields and Wilson or take the safe bet with Burrow. I'm going to say caution to the wind. Start Justin Fields today. What do you think?
I knew that was coming. I think, first of all, I think it's a great problem to have. I don't think there is a wrong choice between them. Genuinely, like, one's going to obviously score more than the other, so in that way it's wrong, but both are strong options. I think you're in good shape this week, no matter which way you go with it. I do have Burrow higher. Again, that Jacksonville defense does not scare me. We know Cincinnati's going to want to put on a show after whatever that was that they put up last week, and that includes, things like Jamar Chase drops, T. Higgins being relatively uninvolved. Like, they're going to get untracked. This is the defense to do it against. And is Joe Burrow. I'm not betting against Cool Joe.
I'm not betting against Cool Joe either. I've got them 7 and 8 in my rankings. I do have Burrow slightly higher. However, here's what I would say: you've got Wilson, take that stack, and I like the matchup against Buffalo. They let Lamar Jackson kind of run crazy, and I'm not saying Justin Fields is Lamar Jackson, but he's a similar type of quarterback. I think there's something to that. I think the Jets can keep up in this game. They're not going to win, but I think that they can make it. I think they can definitely make it interesting. And with Fields' rushing upside, I just have a feeling he's going to outscur Burrow this week. Outscur.
And that's the thing, right? Like Fields, his floor is super high because of that rushing and everything like that. And yeah, if he busts that 40-yard touchdown run, which he is very, very capable of, he could absolutely be that top 5 QB this week. And the thing is, I just happen to have Burrow at QB4. So it's just, that would be Fields hitting his absolute ceiling, which is where I have Burrow already.
Fair enough. Now, does it make a difference that he's already got Chase Brown? It doesn't really make a difference to me.
If you're chasing a Lovecraft stack in that, yeah, then I would go Fields, because you need that bigger swing, that higher upside. What Burrow and Brown would do for you is actually raise your floor, because one way or another, you're getting that touchdown, whatever touchdowns are scored, you're getting it from one of those two, outside of something fluky happening, which, I mean, it can happen, but, whatever. We don't try to account for that. So if you need that swing for the fences, I would say, yep, go Fields. I have no problem with it. If you just need the safe play, I would go Burrow.
Yep. All right. Yeah, now I'm with you. Safe plays Burrow for sure. Fields is your big swing guy. And if you stack him with Garrett Wilson, I mean, who knows what could happen. We have JTR here. Pick one: Devontae Adams, Hollywood Brown, or Calvin Ridley to start this week. Which one are you higher on?
Devontae Adams, and it's not close. McVay's come out and said that they want and need to get the offense flowing more through Adams and not just Puka. I believe he is that guy that when he says things like this, the offense follows through. We know Matt Stafford has the golden arm, the kingmaker, a wide receiver. It's going to kind of be a pick your week between Puka, Devontae, that sort of thing. And I think everything we didn't see with Adams last week, we do see this week.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've got Adams at wide receiver 20, and I've got Puka at wide receiver 11. I think this is just what we see out of this offense this season. It's like what we saw in New York last season with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. You pair up these two good wide receivers with the veteran QB who can get the ball down the field, they're going to feast. And Sean McVay's smart enough to do this. It's not even close for me. Devontae Adams is definitely the start here. We are in agreement. We've got Steven Grease, PPR, Jalen Waddle or Kenneth Walker, Ingram, Pitts, or Fannin at tight end. Let's start with the tight ends. Who are you going here? This is fun.
Yeah, because we get Fannin, our boy Fannin. I thought that he could do this, but I wasn't counting on it. So the fact that we saw what we did week 1 makes this a lot of fun. I'm checking here because I actually have Pitts one spot ahead of Fannin. So I'm going to say Pitts, partly because that Baltimore defense is scary despite what we saw last week. And Cleveland's offense, as fun as it looked, it was against Cincinnati, which is a paper tiger at best. So give me Pitts. Calf injuries scare me a bit. Especially in a player like Ingram, who kind of depends on his explosiveness and that sort of thing. Yeah. So I have him a bit lower, not really startable in a tight end, in that. So give me Pitts, but I don't think there's a bad option between Pitts and Fannin.
I don't think there is either. I've got Pitts at 9, Fannin at 10, and then I've got Evan Ingram all the way back at tight end 17. As high as I am on Ingram, as much as I love him, the injury scares me, and not this week. Just not this week. I think it's gonna have to be Pitts for me.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
My rankings are almost identical to yours there, by the way.
We're smart. We know what we're doing here.
Right? Yes.
We've got this comment from Barely Fantasy. Just a little FYI for everybody here. Trent Williams and Juwan Jennings
Okay.
are active today against the Saints. That
That's
doesn't
good.
move the needle for me on Juwan Jennings. I'm still not starting him. But
No.
if you're in a
No.
situation where you actually do have to start Mac Jones, it makes you feel a little bit better about having Trent Williams there.
Makes me feel a lot better about Christian McCaffrey because I think he's a top 5
Yes.
running back this week. I know a lot of people have him at RB1. I'm not willing to put him there simply because of too many other things.
Sure.
But if Williams was out, I would honestly have to bump him down into that more like low end RB1 territory because Trent Williams is a big deal. Even as poorly as he played last week, which is concerning in its own right. But him being there, just being there, is enough to keep CMC up there.
Where do you have CMC in your rankings right now?
I have him as RB4.
Okay, I've got him RB3. I've got Bijan at RB1 this week again. I think he's going to get a lot of receiving work against Minnesota. Let's talk about this. So I want your opinion on this.
Sure.
I've had a couple of different conversations with a couple of different opinions on this backfield in Atlanta. The rushing side of it's a split. This is a split backfield. They split carries last week. They split carries last season. I don't know why everyone's fighting this. Bijan Robinson isn't going to get more than 10 to 12 carries a game. That's just not how this offense is going to work. Tyler Algier is going to get the other 10 to 12 carries, and he's going to get the short yardage because it's just how it works. However, Bijan's going to get 8 to 10 targets a game. And that's just how this offense is going to work, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That makes Tyler Algier borderline rosterable right now and borderline startable some weeks because if he snipes those touchdowns, or if you're in a league that gets points for first downs, that's another point. Algier's the guy who's getting those in short yardage.
Yes. Yeah. No, it feels gross, right? Because we watch Algier run and he's kind of a bigger version of DeAndre Swift right now, and that he looks like he runs with his eyes closed, but he's enough of a bowling ball that he can kind of get something out of it. But he's getting the opportunities, so I can't knock that either. Yeah, I don't quite understand it, but Bijan it's like they want to do their own Monty and Gibbs routine in Atlanta with Algier and Bijan, and I mean Bijan can obviously do that because Bijan, sorry. But Bijan can do that because he is who he is, and he's just sublime and a Greek god and all that.
Well, I think people maybe you don't quite understand here. If Tyler Algier scores a touchdown last weekend, that puts him in the RB3 territory.
Sure.
If he scores a touchdown and adds another 10 yards, that puts him into RB2 territory. Like it's when you're going between RB3 and RB2, there isn't much separating a lot of these guys.
No.
Ashton Jonty was RB22 with 10 points.
Right.
It's a low bar in PPR. Well, that's standard. You go to PPR, it gets a little bit different, but still, RB the 2 catches.
Oh man.
So, like that line's very thin, man. And if Algier starts getting more of that red zone work, he's a guy that you can start in a flex almost every week.
Do you think he does get more of that red zone work?
Yes, I do. I think as this Atlanta offense gets rolling a little bit more and they get into more of those short yardage situations, I think we see more Algier. You don't want Bijan Robinson in those situations, but you don't want him running up the middle. You don't want him beating his body up. He's not the big stout guy like Tyler Algier, and he's got first round draft capital. He works really well in the passing game, and when you have these run situations where you can get him outside and around the edges, that's when you use Bijan. You don't want to use him up the middle as much. You're still going to because he's so freaking electric and he's so slippery. But if you can have Tyler Algier take those hard hit situations where he's bowling at the line and he's the guy getting those touchdowns, you're going to use him. A smart coach would. And I mean, I think Raheem Morris is pretty freaking smart. So
I think they've definitely discovered, I don't know if discovered is the right word, or bought into. The idea is that, like you said, Algiers is battering ram of a running back, right? We can just pound him into the line. He's going to be okay. We can save our first round talent. I buy that, right? Do you think we see a shift in that the second half of the season? Because it makes sense to me that you do that so that way you have your all-pro running back down the stretch when it matters. When you need those, it's 4th and goal from the 1. You need that 1 yard. That's Bijan time. Week 15. That's Bijan time.
Yes. I think as we get
that's
closer to the fantasy playoffs, that does shift a little bit, unless it's working so well that there's no reason to shift it. It's like Jamal Williams that one season in Detroit. He didn't do what he had, like 300 yards rushing, but he had like 17 touchdowns because every time they got close, it's like, yeah, we don't need to use Monty here. Go ahead, just bowl through it. That was the DeAndre Swift season. DeAndre Swift wasn't adept at getting those short yards. Plus, with his frame, you didn't want him bowling through the line anyway. I think it's very similar to Bijan. If it works, it works. I'm not calling him Jamal Williams. He's not going to have that kind of season, of course.
Right.
But that's the type. I feel like that's his usage in this offense. And you can toss him aside all you want, but I'm telling you, midway through the season, people will be like, "Oh crap, I should have held on to him. He's starting to get touchdowns now."
Right? Like he's that Austin
back end
Eckler,
RB2. Yeah, back end RB2. Nothing higher than that. Bijan is obviously the man in this offense because he's going to get all the receiving work. And since we all play at least some version of PPR for the most part, are you in any leagues that don't have PPR scoring?
No, none. I don't know that I would join one at this point.
I don't think I would either, but I'm definitely not. My most basic league is my neighborhood league that we did. I told you about that draft. And it's very basic: 1 quarterback, 1 flex spot, 2-3-2, 2-3, 1 tight end, kicker, defense, but it's still PPR.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's fun. I don't know why you wouldn't play PPR, but we're not here to judge at all.
No, not at all. Let me ask you something, Nate.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. So Quinshon Judkins, right?
Yep.
Dude's supposed to get at least a package of plays today, certain situations, this, that, and the other thing. He met with the NFL this last week about potential, with whatever that they talk about. Obviously, it's just speculation at this point. What are your expectations for him both this week and kind of going forward? Like, should he be rostered basically everywhere?
Yes, I think he should be. There will come a point where he takes over the lion's share of the backfield snaps. I think Dylan Sampson at that point becomes a compliment. He's good.
Right with you there.
He's very good. He should be rostered. Before all of the legal stuff, I had him as high in some of my draft rankings as RB 12 to 14 because of what this offense is. And once they have an adept rusher like Quinshon Judkins versus Dylan Sampson, who's a better pass catcher, Jerome Ford, who's Jerome Ford, and Pierre Strong, who is Pierre Strong, and Raheem Sanders, who's somebody we never knew
somebody
before.
Who can work on the goal line.
Yeah. All of those parts kind of become null once they have Judkins. He becomes the guy who gets the bulk of the carries. I think we see 20 to 25 carries a game from him because, one, this coaching staff is dumb, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. I like Kevin Stefanski. He's one of those guys who I think makes a great coordinator. It's the Wade Phillips conundrum.
That's fair.
Or Josh McDaniels. Great coordinators should never be in charge of an entire staff. Just shouldn't happen. I think we're going to get there with Jonathan Gannon in Arizona as well and kind of start to figure that one out too. But Judkins is a guy he's going to see 20 to 25 carries a game for better or for worse. Is it a good idea? I don't think so. Not when you have this backfield and you can split it up with Sampson, but they're not going to do that. Judkins could be a top 10 running back rest of season. I'm not saying he's definitely will be, but he needs to be rostered because it's 100% possible. The amount of volume, simply just the amount of volume you can see in this offense.
Yeah. Is there, and when I say any league, you're hard up for running back, that sort of thing. Would you consider starting Judkins if I don't even know who you would have lost at this point because we haven't really lost anyone, maybe you were depending on Brian Robinson to be your RB2 because you drafted early, sort of thing. Is there a world in which you could start Judkins this week?
No. You know who I'd rather start and is widely available? In fact, he is rostered in 0% of sleeper leagues. Kyle Juszczyk.
Huh.
Was George Kittle out? I don't see any reason why. He got 2 targets last week after Kittle went out. I could see him getting 3 to 4 to 5 targets, and he tends to put himself in a position to score touchdowns when he gets that work. So,
right? But why? Why is that a thing? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter. This is a week where I would rather start Kyle Juszczyk over Quinshon Judkins. I think there's more of a path to volume for Juszczyk just this week. Just this week. Just because of the injuries. Just because they're playing New Orleans. I would rather start Kyle Juszczyk over Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't see a league in which you would want to start him. Like, I have him relatively high in that kind of like priority backup range. You know, your Brian Robinsons, your Rico Dowdles, those guys who are going to clearly be the guy if the starter goes down with injury.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, it for no reason should you be starting him this week. I'm going to be really interested to see what they can do. Again, that Baltimore defense is it's scary. Just the fact that you've got a guy like Kyle Hamilton back there just makes everyone else so much better at their jobs because he races so much. He makes you right so often.
Yep. Oh, we got one more in here. We got a question in from Twitch, Lou. We better get to this one. We got to help the people set their lineups. DP Firefighter 1526. Kyler, T-Law, or Goff this week at quarterback?
Okay. I've got it as Kyler. But not by a lot over Lawrence. I've got Kyler at QB10, Lawrence is QB12. Same tier, both low-end QB1s. And that's mostly because I know Carolina's defense is very, very bad. They're particularly bad against the run. I think their running backs see a lot of the benefit, more benefit from that than does Kyler. But he's still a good start.
So I've got Kyler at 11, Trevor Lawrence at 13. So we're right about the same on that there.
Yeah.
Jared Goff against Chicago, I've got him back at 17. I usually have him a little bit higher, but he's definitely off the table for me this week. It's going to be Kyler Murray for me as well. We got another one from DP Firefighter here. T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Emeka Egbuka, and Jalen Waddle need to start too. We're going to assume PPR here because we have to. Which way are you going on this? Waddle's out for me, for sure.
Waddle. Yeah, I need to see signs of life from Miami before I consider basically any Miami non-HM wide receivers.
He's dinged up too.
So, I mean, that's just water's wet.
Jalen Waddle's existence.
For me, it's Higgins and Metcalf. I like Egbuka. Love him. Think he's in the perfect situation. And Houston is a rough passing matchup, especially when you're missing your all-pro left tackle, Tristan Wirfs still. Like, I'm not saying Derek Stingley can cover both Evans and Egbuka, but we're quickly seeing that Egbuka is as much of a priority to account for as Evans. And D'Amico Ryans, that Houston defense, the defensive line and secondary is very, very good. So I've got both Higgins and DK a tier above Egbuka this week.
No, same with me. I've got Metcalf at 12, as we already talked about. Then I've got T. Higgins at 16. Yeah. I've got Egbuka back at 19. I've got him and Mike Evans kind of stacked. I feel like they're going to be similar-ish this week. But yeah, T. Higgins and DK Metcalf for me. There will be a point where it's going to be Egbuka, no matter what, but we're not quite there yet.
Yeah. And Houston's just that matchup that you have to reconsider some of those automatic starts. Like, that's really what it is for me. If it wasn't Houston, Egbuka would be one of the choices. Probably, I'm probably taking him over DK this week in that case, but that's a big hypothetical.
Big hypothetical. Yeah, I love what this Tampa Bay offense is going to be. I love Igmika Egbuka. I didn't love the landing spot at first, but now, I mean, Chris Godwin's banged up.
We see the vision.
We see the vision, and we're not going to see Godwin at 100% this year. It's just not going to happen. So I wasted a lot of draft capital on Chris Godwin. But you know, you hope, you wish, but then Igbuka is going to be that guy in this offense. And Mike Evans he's going to live forever. He's one of those wide receivers, man.
Apparently.
Like,
no, but I like what Tampa Bay is doing as far as making sure Baker has legitimate weapons for, like, you can see the end coming for Evans, for Godwin. Maybe not this year for Godwin, but obviously he got hurt unexpectedly.
Right.
But even though Jalen McMillan is hurt right now, I really like what we saw from him last year and liked him coming into the NFL. Egbuka looks like everything we could have possibly hoped for out of him, which is great. That's an awesome transition from Evans and Godwin to these two other really talented and solid wide receivers. Not a lot of teams do that.
No. Tampa Bay has a really good front office, and they're building a team that long-term is going to be very good. I love that Baker Mayfield is finally getting the love he deserves, because damn it, he's a good quarterback. And I liked him. I didn't like his attitude coming out of college. I didn't like the way he carried himself at Oklahoma. But when he got to Cleveland, you could tell that his attitude shifted. He got to the NFL and was like, okay, I'm in the big leagues now. I got to shut my mouth and just behave here. You don't see a lot of guys do that. That level of maturity, coupled with the fact that he was just getting screwed in Cleveland, and you could see the talent was there, but there just wasn't the team around him. And you get him to Tampa Bay, he takes over the year after Tom Brady, and he just like locks in, and it's been phenomenal to watch.
I do think he needed more of an attitude adjustment than he got, and I think he needed to walk the path that he did to be the quarterback who he is today. You know, coming up in Cleveland, like you said, Cleveland is, oh man, I feel bad for Cleveland fans because they got stuck with a raw one, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really enjoy being able to see what Baker has become. It's great for fantasy. He's fun to root for. Like, he's just fun to root for. Seeing him throw his body around haphazardly, you know, he takes off in scrambles. He delivers big hits. He obviously plays with that fire that is just, it makes it easy to root for him, which is just, it's fun football. And that's cool to see.
Did you see the episode of, remember that show Undercover Boss? Did you ever watch that? So they did an episode of it.
They make me angry.
Baker Mayfield did an episode of that where he dressed up in like a completely different uniform, and he just worked some like service jobs with the Bucs organization just to get to meet some of the people. And that, watching that, I was like, yeah, this isn't the kid who came out of Oklahoma who was stomping on logos and planting flags on a field. He's grown up and
doing State Farm commercials as the year after his rookie season. No, you're absolutely right. He's not that guy anymore, and I'm glad for it.
Yeah, and like I've bought into this Tampa Bay team. I bought into this Tampa Bay offense. I've got Mayfield as my QB 10 this week against Houston, despite their defense, because I think despite their defense, he's still going to be right around QB 10. We got one more question here, Lou, and then we are going to get out of here. Preston Flood over on YouTube, Lou. He wants to know Omarion Hampton, Tet McMillan, Ricky Pearsall. We're in PPR here. I'm going to immediately say no Omarion Hampton. It's too early for him to be here, especially in PPR. Am I correct in that, or are you including him here? Are you thinking about starting him in this 3, and it's out of this group?
No, I'm not. I think it's a valid question because of where he was drafted and everything like that. So like, you come into the season with expectations of like, okay, I'm going to be able to ride him out of the gate, right? And I think we saw week 1 that he's not that guy yet. Like, he made some really costly mistakes on 3rd down runs, obviously at the end of the game or at the end of the half there, ran out of bounds. Like, he's still a very raw rookie and needs time on task. Najee Harris is also getting healthier. He's going to see more work than we want because it's Harbaugh and that's what he does.
Yep.
It's a valid question, and you just need to understand what Hampton is right now. For me,
Yeah.
this is Ted over Pearsall. Again, it's kind of going back to before. I expect the San Francisco passing attack to be very limited. Pearsall, I think he really needs a touchdown this week in order to be in that Tet range. Yeah, I've got Pearsall as my wide receiver 33 this week, which is significantly behind McMillan, who I have a tier higher.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's Tet over Pearsall and Hampton for me for sure. I've got Tet McMillan ranked way higher than Ricky Pearsall. Just on volume alone, I think we're just going to see more volume for Tet, and it's the smarter play here. And we're not always right, guys, but we do spend the majority of our life studying this stuff, and we promise that we're giving you the best answers we can. If we didn't get to your question today, if you've got more questions, if you've ever got more questions, we have a Discord, redraft insights, dynasty discussions, DFS advice, NFL best bets. You just want to come over and say hi and see how we're doing. It doesn't matter. Come check us out on Discord. The link is down there in the show description. We're always around. We're always trying to have fun, right, Lou?
Oh yeah, I
It's
mean,
just what we do.
Mike Vidala and I, we were talking up during one of the college football games yesterday, Tennessee and Georgia, and that barn burner and everything. I mean, this is just what we do in Discord. We hang out, talk ball, and have a good time.
This is our life, guys. It's what we do.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you tuning in this weekend. We'll be back next Sunday, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for all your start sit questions. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Optimus channel here. We've got stuff coming out all week. Look for Kevin and I tonight going back through this slate and the Thursday night game, just talking about what we saw, what stats mattered, what players mattered, and what we're thinking about week 3. Then you can catch Kevin tomorrow morning with Clock Management. He's going to be on at 2 p.m. Eastern with Dave Kluge from Football Guys. Make sure to tune in there. It's going to be a great show. For Lou Brunson, I'm Nate Polvogt. Guys, good luck this weekend. Get those lineups locked. Win some matchups.